Howdy, as I junked back with another hangar request, this one from Sebastian Lucas in the comments. And, well, this isn't his hangar, because there's a dock in it, obviously. This is Sebastian's hangar. And let's go through it, talk about it. I've already recorded a couple games with it. I'll tell you what my concerns were, and then we'll see how those concerns played out and come back here and talk about it some more. But let's get right into it. First up, what can you say about the Rust Angler? I've been running it at least daily. You know, anytime I get salty about getting rolled by meta robots, the Rust Angler comes out to play. And there's not a lot to say about it because these are the same skills I've been running. So this is what it is. This is the meta. This is what everyone's afraid of and running out there. Next, the Retro Revenant, and it only occurred to me in hindsight that I don't need Trixie Hope on this. I could run the actual Revenant pilot, which I've got. But you know, the point of the Trixie Hope pilot, when in the drone, back when we had drones, where I'm on iOS, so I still don't have drones, was that you would hit your healing and you would get a giant defense point boost. Well, since we have no drones, all you really get is the healing, and it's been so long since I've used the actual Revenant pilots, I forget what the ability is. Let's just see if we can semi-quickly change this pilot. Well, that's handy if she's going to be right there. You repair some durability at the end of the ability. The extent of the repair depends on the damage dealt. I don't actually know that that's better. It's not worse. Yeah, I've got a few pilots, as you can see. Slight digression here. Earlier today, I ran the dock, and you saw in the, I don't know if you read the, I don't know if anybody, well, you're mostly dogs and cats at home alone with YouTube for company, so you probably didn't read it. But I mentioned there's only three, well, at the time there were only three robots I hadn't actually leveled and gotten killed with in Champion League. Gareth, I think the Haichi is one, and then Doc was the last one, so Doc is now crossed off the list. So there's just two more, but everything else I've leveled and run, so everything I've got pilots for. Oh, we're out of the maxed pilots. Now these are just the semi-leveled pilots. Anyway, not the point. I'm gonna leave Trixie on there for now, because I'll have to figure out which is the actual better pilot ability. But that's the Revenant. Then there's the Arachnid Invader. And I've run a lot of Invaders. It's one of my favorite robots, honestly. I mean, because I like tanks in general. And you can look at the skills here. I didn't change any of these skills either. These are just right for the meta as it is. I have two Invaders. I think I mentioned that in one of the other videos that I've got one because I have so many pilots. It's hard to find the right pilot to switch between pilots. So if there's a pilot and I think I'm going to want to switch between them a lot, I'll just level another robot because it's just easier than dealing with switching the pilots. So I've got this Invader and I've got the well, heck, let's look at the robot hangar. Somewhere I've got, oh, right there up front, the Auto Invader, because it was just worth it to me to level another Invader than it would be to have to deal with switching back and forth. Oh, we got to the powerful robot section now, I can tell. Anyway, next up, Rust Mender. This is a Rust heavy hangar, which we'll get into. Didn't make any changes to the Mender. There was really didn't have to change anything because these are bots I run pretty frequently. You'll notice there's a ton of repair amps and immune amps out here. The only relatively untanky robot I would put an immune amp on is Mender because it's the only thing that can survive the damage it would take to really load an immune amp. Normally speaking, the size of your health pool will determine the viability of your ability of taking damage to load an immune amp up. But because the Mender can heal up its own health pool so much, it can get away with it. Puncher Behemoth, another one where I've been running too many punchers to start getting silly about their builds now. This double immune amp thing is what Predator does on his behemoths to make up for some of the speed loss and durability loss, and I like it. To be honest, I haven't run the puncher enough with one nuke amp to know if that's viable. I know back in the day I really preferred two because you had to shoot a few number of things to load up an immune amp with punchers. So I assume that's still true, but we'll see. And finally, another robot that I just ripped completely from my actual hangar that I've been running, the Dazzler Aether. The robot that Predator describes as a... You know, now that I'm looking at it, I do see the chicken. It's really just the head. And the feathers. Dang it. Okay, maybe it's a little bit of a chicken. I can see Phoenix too. It's not that chickeny. Chicken light. Anyhow, there's my double quantum sensor build, which surprises everyone. One of the things that I hope that this is something you already know. If you don't, you're going to learn today. The quantum sensor has a radius of 350 meters. Now you would think that would be fixed, but as it turns out, if you stack them, you get double the radius. So running two quantum sensors actually gives you a 700 meter radius, which is longer than my weapons. So if I can see it, I can shoot it. And so that's a pretty strong skill, especially now that we're seeing so many. One, the emoji itself, right? Like the new robot, flies in stealth, and I'm seeing a lot more Lokis. I don't know exactly why. I think maybe it's because so many people are running blinders on the Titans. They're not running cinders. Maybe. So that is Sebastian Lucas's hangar. I mean, I can't say too much bad about it because these are all things that I run. The concern I have about it, or I should say had about it, because I've run it now. Last time I did the introduction before I played the games. This time I just kind of wanted to get into the game, so I jumped ahead in the line. But the concern looking at it that came to mind was we really don't have a very long effective range here on anything but the Titan. Like even, what are these, 350? Yeah. So we've got 350, it's 350 on the Rust too. And the Punchers say 500, but because of the bullet spread, the effective range is still basically 350. So we've got 5 robots and nothing outside of a close-range weapon on them. Well, my guess is that's going to generally make you very strong on a small map and generally make you suffer on a long-range map. So before I played the games, my fear was dropping in on a map with really long range and just having my robots taken out before I got to beacons. So let's look at those games, and then let's meet back here. Okay, we are dropping in now on Rome. So my worst fears realized in that this is a fairly big and open map. It is a little bit of a hybrid map. There's some brawling space, but you got to get to it. And let's start with the Invader. And my thought here was that the Invader's probably better than most of the robots at closing distance. So if I can get, within leaping range, I can turn a fight into a brawl. Of course, you still got to get there. And you can see the Reds are taking advantage of that open space for sniping. So I think let's get into the center as soon as we can. And I noticed that I've got a Clanny on the red team. Warzoid. Howdy Warzoid. And one of my favorite moments here in the match is coming right up, which is how cool does the Invader look taking out this Seraph on the wall. Yeah. How cool is that? That looks cool. That just makes me want to run a whole hangar of spiders. I would have just hung up there and shot into the red side of the field, but of course I've got to deal with this angler. Or at least attempt to deal with this angler, because the angler gets some support pretty quickly. One of the weird things about center in Rome is that it's got a little bit of cover from the sides, but not really enough cover from the sides. So my thought here was I can jump the angler into city, you'll see, and I saw there was a nether there, and I think Warzoid was in a Kepri, and so I thought I can get in there. Oh no, sorry, an angler. I can get in there and I can take on the nether. That should be easy pickings. And for whatever reason, I didn't anticipate this Typhon coming back to support, and that completely threw my game plan off. And I just I don't know, my brain turned into like mashed potatoes. I'm like, what am I doing over here? Why did I come over here? I don't even like remember to target the nether that much. So that was like a combination of user error and just no, it's well. I was gonna say user error in my brain turning to mush, but also user error in not anticipating that the nether would or the Typhon would come to support the city. This was just a wasted bot. I guess I didn't anticipate those three guys supporting each other all the way across the map. I was a little bit hesitant to drop in the angler here, but fortunately I got some team support to drop in, and also fortunately the red angler decided to dance with the Titan instead of support the nether. I think that is the same Typhon and angler. I know it's the same angler because that's Warzoid and the angler. Same Typhon and angler that took out my Invader. And at this point, I'm starting to get seriously apprehensive about how fast my bots are getting destroyed. Because now, that's 3 bots. So I drop in the Puncher Behemoth, and my worst fear is made manifest. Just erased. Just completely erased. So, I at least managed to get a little bit of revenge here. But that's exactly what I was afraid of, is, you know, that Puncher really has an effective range of about 350 meters. Somebody corrected me. I said yards in one of the videos recently. Somebody corrected me that it was meters. It's like, I refuse to accept that the future is metric. But yeah, 350 meters being the effective range. So let's look now. We've got 5 minutes left in this fight, and I've got 1 robot left after this Aether. So painful. I couldn't even take it. The Typhons were just killing me everywhere. Typhon's got the Invader, Typhon's got the Angler, and Typhon's got my Titan just then. So yeah, here's my last bot. The bot that's going to turn it all around for me. The Mender. So yeah, I'm basically pretty sure that I'm going to mech at this point. And my thought process here is, alright, all I can do, the only thing I can do to be useful, since every decision I make is wrong, and every bot I drop just gets annihilated, I'm just going to follow the HK guy, because Hong Kong is a very strong guild. I'm going to follow the HK guy, I'm going to pocket heal him, and he's going to make the difference. He's going to lead us to victory here, because it ain't going to be me. You know, sometimes you're the hero, and sometimes, you know, you're not. And this was not my time to shine. So, I'm following him around, and I'm healing. I'm like, alright, I can heal him up, and he freezes. Absolutely frozen. Fantastic. So now, I'm a lonely Mender with a statue. Now, we do have the beacon advantage and the beacon bar advantage, but I don't know if he turned into a ghost and doesn't know it. I don't know if he disconnected. So, I'm just staying here. Like, I don't think he turned... He must be a ghost, right? Because he just goes into his ability there. But I don't think he knows that. Because, like, I've been in that situation. Like, it doesn't tell you. So I'm here on this beacon. I'm thinking, okay, I think Warzoid is in a Titan. He's going to come over. Didn't realize the beacon bar was that low. So, how do we do? Well, we did win. We were 5 out of 6. Had we disconnected, the team could easily have won without us, I think. 4 kills, 3 beacons. It's not nothing. It's pretty solid. And let's get into the next game, see if we do any better. Alright, we're dropping in on Powerplant in game 2 here. So from the moment I'm dropping in, I already know this is going to be terrible. I'm going to have a terrible experience because it's Powerplant. Powerplant is awful. It shouldn't be in the game. I hope the designer of Powerplant stubs his toe every single morning, because that's how I feel every single time I have to load onto his garbage map. That's my feeling on Powerplant. Nevertheless, good start here. Emoji portal to the beach. And I love this moment where the Nether thinks it's going to come down on the emoji, and it sees there's an invader, and he just backs up for a minute. But then he gets brave because his friend is here. So he and his partner think they're just going to do their like little dance around the invader. Invader suppresses him, and the invader's actually getting team support right now. So the 2 Nethers turn into scrap metal on the beach, thanks to what I would describe, let's say, to foreshadow it, the only moment of anything resembling team support you're going to see in this entire game. Whoa. That said, I see Warzoid. Hey, buddy. How you doing? Rome? What happened in Rome? Why are you bringing up old stuff? So, yeah, I jump here to save Beacon B. He phases, and okay, fair enough. I was wrong. There's 2 moments of team support. This is the other moment of team support, the Fenrir. So 2 moments of team support. But the Invader stands strong, and I've run the Invader before. I have 2 Invaders that I run. One has the autopilot for running spears in the light slots, and then this is the generic Stanislav pilot. And I've always liked Invader. It has a really interesting mobility because of the jump. The Invader can reach you in places you think it can't reach you. And the Invader can escape and enter situations you think it won't be able to. So it's got good toughness. The only downside to the Invader, really, I guess one is there's a skill curve, a learning curve with the jump, because you can lose beacons if you do it sloppy. But here I have a triple kill, and here comes the rampage. But that said, other than that, the Invader, it's strong, it's mobile. 2 lights and a medium aren't a ton of armament, but that's why the rust weapons are good there, because it's less about the damage each rocket does and the effect accumulation. Okay, so this moment of dropping in, I'm thinking about dropping in on the beach, and then I reconsider, I'm going to drop in at home, and I'll tell you why. And this is another map awareness issue. If you drop in at the beach, you aren't going to be able to see what the robot is that's on Beacon B in the hallway. So instead of dropping into the beach, especially if you've got a robot with a little bit of more mobility like my Revenant here, it's sometimes better to drop in from a beacon where you can see into the hallway and see what you're teleporting to, or see what you're rushing to. Because there are matchups that you don't necessarily want to have if you're the Revenant, right? And this gives you some ability to judge what that matchup is going to be. So Zoid and I meet once again, but I don't get the kill on this one. And now I'm starting to get really concerned, because let's look at the facts. Number 1, it's Powerplant. And number 2, my teammates drown in the rain. Like, we lost home, and I'm here struggling with a Typhon. And I've got people shooting at stuff that isn't this Typhon, the thing that's stopping us from having home. So, of course, they all drop in. And it's at this point when I am fairly sure that the streak of Powerplant being a garbage map is going to once again cost me this game. With help from my teammates, of course. This is just a good guy Greg thing. I'm trying to rush over here, despite being in enemy fire, to drop the north light and help my teammate with a little shield. Now my plan here at this point is to run the angler behind the power plant where they're all cuddled, but when I run back there, they kind of move away from that. So I try to move over here and hold the beacon. And the entire universe drops in at the beacon. There's three guys drop in at the beacon, with 2 more shooting at me from the mound. Which really makes you wonder, what is the rest of the team doing? I saw like 2 of them on the beach. What are they, like serving pina coladas over there? No, there's a guy, but in the moment it doesn't feel like whatever they're dealing with is as bad as what I'm dealing with. And here is where, thanks to a galaxy brain move by my teammate, I get outplayed by a Loki. I'm here. There's a Loki. The only way I can damage a Loki is to phase, but I've got a teammate on the beacon, so I phase in order to damage the Loki, and my teammate just leaves the beacon. Just runs away. And pretty soon I start getting shot from the left and orbital struck, and I'm thinking, well, I can die here waiting to take out the Loki, or I can just phase and lose the beacon, but at least the Loki dies. So that's the choice I make, because I had 3 teammates just walk away. Well, I guess 2 teammates walk away, and 1 teammate seems to have disconnected or something. He's just, over there doing nothing. Maybe he's a ghost now. I don't know. But he's sure not helping. So, yeah. I get outplayed on the beacon. And then the Reds support each other, and that team support shoots me in the side. It's coming in a minute. Oh, I guess I didn't get shot on the... I remember getting shot on the side, but it must be in this next robot. So... yeah, and you can see now we're 4-capped. Even though, we had relatively... like, it was 5-on-5 a second ago, and... so now I've got 2 guys on me, and I'm thinking, man, it really would be nice to have somebody out here to put a little fire on that Seraph. But there's nobody. The Aether, I really enjoy the Aether, and the blinding Aether I think is the best blinding combination out there. The problem with blindies in general is they don't do a ton of damage. With the Aether's built-in weapon, you can do the damage and have that countermeasure of the blinding. So now let's look. We see we've got 3 of my teammates not shooting at the Kepri that's on home. Now they finally are, while 3 Reds shoot at me. And I'm just saying, why does this keep happening to me on Powerplant? Why am I surrounded by Muppets? That said, when we get to the scoreboard, this hangar did really well. I mean, that's 7 million damage in a droneless world. 8 kills, 7 beacons. That's a solid performance. And we are dropping in on Shenzhen, and I'm feeling much better. Shenzhen is not just a good map, it's a great map. Arguably the perfect map. And more importantly, it's the perfect map for our build, where we've got a relatively short range. Our builds tend to top out around 300, 350 meters. And we're going to be able to get all of that here. So that was just, typical Revenant shenanigans. Move to the blind corner so that you can teleport onto the beacon before you can cap it and take him out. That's just day 1 of Revenant school. Now I'm coming into this with the exact opposite feeling of Powerplant. I'm like, I got this. I'm not even slightly concerned. Teleport to home, do a little mini spawn raid. Targeting system takes me off the Kepri for a second, but I get back on it, and this ball just helpfully is gone. Hey, my teammate's in a Bulgasari. I see you also are a man of taste and class. Puncher Behemoth is not generally what I want to be standing in front of, but as long as he's partying with the Bulgasari for a minute, I can get enough damage on him. Little Northlight shielding, and I actually take out an up-close Puncher Behemoth, which is not a guaranteed proposition at all. Oh hey, it's my clanmate Warzoid. Hey buddy. What are you mad about? You won the last game. So I felt good about this matchup, primarily because I've got flames, and I can go through that frontal shield, which I think is already knocked off on him. But then I get some help from teammates who haven't gotten the word about the Cruel Angler yet, I guess. Check Meet Joe Black's video in the description, because he actually shows off the problems with it. And I was getting shot by this Miramitz, so I just decided I'm going to teleport over here and take my chances melting a Miramitz while half dead. Because, yeah, that's a Titan, but it's a Miramitz. I mean, they basically make them out of plastic and hope these days. They're pretty squishy. So this is the only beacon we haven't got captured, and I feel like, I got a shot. Fortunately, I get some help from a teammate, Aether shooting him in the back. And I'm watching my health, I'm watching my shielding. I think I can do it. And the power of positive thinking, I done did it. So I've been very... I think Hazmike was in the last game too. I think that was... What wasn't Hazmike the Loki on the beach? I think that's right. But there's good team support here. And I feel pretty good about where the game is at. As you would imagine. I feel pretty bad that I can't get a kill here. There was like 3 guys who were almost gone, and none of my rockets could actually manage to close the deal. So this game is just about over already. And I didn't run through the whole hangar, but I just never felt like I was out of tools. It was almost a relief at times to get blown up so that I could move on to the next bot. And you have to drop the Titan and get those Titan points for honor. But I did not have to do a lot of hard work here. This was not... I didn't have to put the team on my back here like I had to do at the power plant. This is just easy like Sunday morning, this game. So yeah, that's game 3. Let's go back to the hangar and talk about what we've learned. Alright, we are back in Sebastian Lucas's hangar. Let's talk about how we did and what we learned, any takeaways. The only time my biggest fears were realized was in Rome when the Puncher Behemoth got taken out without even deploying its weapons. And that is a function, I think, of being in a position where the effective range of the Behemoth was so small that to affect the fight, I had to drop in close enough that I just got ranged and fell over. It really wouldn't have helped for me to deploy. You could say, well, if you deploy at A, you won't be blown up. Yeah, if I deploy at A, I won't be in the fight. Like, a great way to not be blown up is to not be in the fight. So this was just there just wasn't enough range on that map. And I think it affected Powerplant too, a little less obviously. Because while, yeah, my numbers were great there, I also didn't have as many options as I would have if I had had a couple ranged options. And I could have tried to solve some problems with finesse instead of with brute force. All of that said, the Arachnid Invader really, with the rust weapons, really outperformed what my expectations. I think it outkicked its coverage. I was really impressed with what it was able to pull off, and I might just add that to the lineup right now. The Retro Revenant with the flamethrowers was very strong. This Revenant build, back when we had drones that would give us a defense bonus when you hit repair, that Trixie Hope build, the thing I saw it with was, I think it was a puncher in the heavy slot and flamethrowers in the light slot, and that was to deal with the Unknown Seraph's bugged hitbox. The hitbox was bugged, but the flamethrowers that just hit everything in front of you managed to nail it pretty effectively up close. So I'm kind of wondering if the flamethrower Revenant might not also be more effective against the angler. People have been measuring the bugness of the cruel angler against weapons with bullet spread. So that's true, and it is bugged, and people shouldn't use it, really. But the point being, because people are going to use it, maybe the Flamethrower Revenant should come back as a way of dealing with the bullet spread issue. Because it did work with the Unknown Seraph. We have to try that some more to be sure. There was nothing here that didn't work. And obviously I like the Titan and I like the Angler because I've been running them anyway. The thing that jumps to mind here is I would try to add some range, and if I had to pick two culprits as the ones who should carry the range, it would be the Behemoth and the Mender. The Behemoth I would probably switch to Decay, or the new lasers would be good. Even Smuda, which I know isn't a very long-range weapon, but the ability to go around obstacles does give you some more utility, and you can use cover a little more effectively. The Mender isn't bad, obviously. It's a good robot. I think I would probably swap it for something with more firepower, and if I wanted it to be a healer, either a Demeter or a Tyr with something much longer range. I could see, again, the radiation weapons. I could see a hybrid radiation spear. I could see the new lasers, obviously. If you're only going to run one hangar, then you're going to want at least a couple bots that can give you some range. If you're going to run multiple hangars and you just want to run this one as your brawling hangar, then you might want to change the Titan. But I could totally see this as a great brawling hangar, as is. If it was going to be my main hangar, I'm going to need some degree of range. Like, there's too many long-range maps with hybrid maps. Like, people think, oh, well, there's really only, Canyon and Springfield that are long-range maps. Well, maybe. But you've got Castle, and you've got Powerplant, and you've got Abyss. Yam's coming back, right? Yamantau's coming back. When you add in the hybrid maps, range becomes pretty necessary. It's absolutely essential on the long-range maps, and on the hybrid maps, it gives you many more options as to how you want to force the Reds to play around you, and where you can reach. So that's the only, and that's not even a criticism of the builds of the robots. It's not there's anything wrong with the builds of the robots. Those would be fantastic in another hangar. It's just that something's got to give out of the robots we've got to add range, and I think those two are the ones where we're going to lose the least by swapping them out. Angler's obviously top of the meta. The Revenant build gives us a possible counter to that top of the meta, and the Invader just does it all. Tank, damage, mobility. I think the things I would sacrifice there are the up-close overkill of the punchers on the Behemoth and the unparalleled healing of the Mender, just because I don't think the damage it would do with 2 lights and a medium is enough. I think you need the 3 mediums or the 2 mediums and 2 lights on either the Tyr or the Demeter. So those are my thoughts. All in all, excellent hangar. Thank you, Sebastian Lucas. If you want me to try your hangar, please leave it in the comments below. Thank you if you made it to this far in the video. If you're a dog or cat at home alone with YouTube for company, you are a good puppy or kitty, and I'm sure your parents are going to give you a treat when they come home, and I will talk to you later.